Michael Stone is my partner in construction programs and results, markupandprofit.com. He's the author of Markup and Profit, a Contractor's Guide, Profitable Sales, a Contractor's Guide, the Profitable Estimating Training Class, and almost all of the content on our website. So with that, I'm going to let Michael start. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you, Devin. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending this morning. Brian talked in, gave us an awful lot of information now. And now what I would like to do, you remember in there he said there to, you need to figure out who your ideal client is and what your ideal project or job is. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do those two things. I'm a little more specific than what, Brian was talking more on lead generation, and I'm going to show you how to compile the content so when you start generating leads, you'll know exactly where you're going. Okay, our coaching clients, and we've been coaching now for 17 years plus, and we got several hundred coaching clients. What the ones that have been successful tell me that when they do their year-end review, in other words, they at the end of the year, and that time is coming up here real soon, when they do the year-end review, and then when they do the planning for the following year, okay, that allows them to better identify who their ideal clients have been and should be or will be in the future, and it also helps them identify exactly what their best jobs are or their ideal jobs, and that's the point of what we're going to be talking about right now. Okay, so when you talk about reviewing and planning for a year, I can't tell you how many times people say, well, we're going to take this weekend and do our planning for the year, and I always want to say, oh no, you're not, and and that, of course, that wouldn't come across very well. But what you're doing with the weekend or maybe a weekend planning something like that, that's what I call a lick and a promise. Okay, you're not really getting into it like you should. A good review and planning session should take you at least 6 weeks. And I said we're going to be coming up on the review and planning time for this next year, and it should start about 3 weeks from now on November 16th, and that should be a minimum, November 16th through December 31st. If you're trying to do it in less time than that, you're not giving it a good effort. You're giving it a lick and a promise. Now, you may disagree. That's all well and good, but the bottom line is, out this time next year, you'll find out whether the amount of effort and time you put into it this year was as good as it should be, because you'll be able to tell by November, December next year, you'll know exactly what your results have been from the planning you did this year. Now, let's talk about the review of 2015. Okay, the first thing you need to do is review your business. I'm not talking about building jobs. I'm talking about your business, such things as your sales performance. Did you sell as much business as you predicted that you would for this next year? Which means that you've also got a lot of other things involved in that. Was your marketing and advertising campaign correct? Was your salespeople, yourself or your salespeople, properly trained? Did they perform like they should? Did you review your financial performance for the year? In other words, did you set your overhead expenses for the year, and did you match them exactly? And my 8th cardinal rule is you shall, honor your overhead budget and spend not otherwise. Now, guys, I hope you're listening. I know the ladies don't have any trouble with that, but guys often do. They see toys and they want to go buy all this and buy that. And once your budget is set, you should never deviate from it. Okay? There are emergencies, yes, but those are rare. You need to set a profit minimum. And the successful companies that I know, all of them are making at least 8% net profit plus. I seen an article the other day that said the best home builders are averaging about 5.5% net profit. I'm sorry, that's not enough. And I saw another report that said the remodeling contractors are averaging about 1.5% net profit. Gang, either one of those situations, if you have a bad job, and this may come as a newsflash, but there are bad jobs out there, and every once in a while we collect one of those. When you have a bad job, it's going to wipe out your profit not only from that job, but many other jobs as well. So you need that 8% cushion. That's why we say that. Have you looked at your employees? You need to review all your employees. Who are the good ones? What are they accomplishing? Are they working on their education? And the other side of the coin is, who's the deadwood? And do they need to be transferred to the competition? And, a lot of guys say, oh, you can't find anybody right now. I can't afford to fire any employees. Well, have you done the math on that? That would be my question. Have you found out how much they're costing you as opposed to how much they're making you? If an employee is not making you money, frankly, you're crazy for keeping them on staff. I don't care how bad or how far behind you get. It's not worth it to keep an employee that costs you money. Okay, jobs. And we won't spend a lot of time on jobs because that's not where you make money. You make a living on jobs, but you don't make any money. So you need to look at the jobs you're doing and figure out where you made the most profit. And is there anything on those jobs that you could have done to make more profit? Okay, that's part of this ideal job thing. When you identify your best jobs, that includes which jobs you make the most money on. It also includes getting rid of the bottom 80% of the jobs you're doing because they only generate about 20% of your income. Today's marketplace, people want to have specialists. They want people that really know and understand kitchens. They don't want somebody that does everything. And it's always amusing when you look at some contractors advertising, well, we specialize in, and then they have a laundry list of 18 different types of jobs they do. That doesn't work. 1, 2, maybe 3 jobs that you do, kitchens, baths, and maybe something else, but that's just about it. Or you're doing dormers, or you do room additions or whatever, but you want to specialize. That's when you start making money, is when you start becoming more of a specialist. And then you need to look at your subcontractors and your suppliers. And were they on time? Did they do what they agreed to do? Did they keep their jobs clean? That's for the subcontractors. Did the suppliers, did they let you know about new and available products? Did they order them for you on time? Did they deliver them on time? Those are all questions you need to be asking to make darn sure that those subcontractors and suppliers are performing. If you are a subcontractor listening in, and I'm sure we have some this morning, did you do what you said you're going to do? Did you show up on time? Did you keep your job clean? Did you stick to your agreement for payment with the general contractor so that you're not bugging them all the time about money? Remember, general contractors are not a bank, and they shouldn't be expected to pay you the day you get the job done. Okay, so those are things that you need to review in your own company, and you need to. And this review period is going to take you at least 2 weeks if you do it right. Okay, there's a lot of work to be done here. The big picture then is what are the key strengths of your business, and you need to identify those. And do you have any unique selling points that separates you from your competition? I believe that every business has one thing they do better than anybody else because they really know and understand this one faction of their business. And that's what you want to grow on right there, okay? What are the weaknesses or challenges of your business? And I've never seen a business yet, and I've been in construction now 56 years, and I've never seen a business yet that didn't have weaknesses or challenges someplace if the owner's honest and faces them straight up. So you need to identify those and clean up what you can as soon as you can, and put the rest of them on a list of things you got to work on. Okay. So the question then is, when you get all done, you ask yourself, did I reach my business and my personal goals for 2015? And a lot of times, your personal goals have a lot are tied with your business, whether you like to think of it that way or not. Okay. Let's take a look at planning for 2016. Now, this will take the remainder of your planning time at the end of each year. Probably 3 to 4 weeks is about right for planning. And you should carry a pad and pencil with you at all times during your planning sessions. And every time you think of something, you write it down. And that means if you're driving, you pull over to the side, write it down, and then go on again. You're going to, from the time you think of something to the time you stop, write it down, and you're back on the road again is less than a minute in most cases. Okay, so you need to write it down and factor that stuff into your planning for the year. You want to get as much detail into your planning as you can. As I say about writing contracts, I talk to people about contracts. You can never put too much into a contract, but you certainly can put too little into it. Same holds true with planning. You cannot put enough effort into planning, okay? But you can certainly put in too little, and that's what most contractors do, and that's why they end up at the year, nothing happens during the year, and then they get out of the year and they wonder what happened. Well, they didn't do planning. Okay, let's talk about projecting 2016 annual volume of sales, and there's a very easy way to do that, and that is you figure out how much money you want to make yourself. How much money do you want to take home as your salary from your business? Now, if you've been in business less than 5 years, then you divide that by 8%, 0.08. If you've been in business more than 5 years, you divide it by either 0.09 or 0.10, okay, as either 9 or 10% of your total sales. That should be the amount of money that you pay yourself to own and run your company. That's a fair compensation for running the business, okay? Now, when you divide the salary you want by either 8%, 9%, or 10%, the number you get will be the amount of money your company must sell, the amount of jobs that your company must sell, build, and collect to support your new salary. Okay, that's a simple way of setting how much, that's your simple way of setting your goals for sales for next year. Real simple, okay? Now, when you do your planning, you must talk about overhead expenses and set those. And again, once they're set, you don't deviate from them. You also need to project what your profits will be. You need to talk about your salary, okay, and any office staff salary, and anybody else in your company that's on salary. You need to have that set. And that should be done before the first of the year, okay? Sales needed. What kind of sales do you need to support all the expenses that you're going to have and pay the job cost and make a profit? Tool and equipment needs. A lot of times that gets kind of put, well, we really don't know. Well, just take the time to sit down and look at your tools and equipment and see what needs repair, what needs to be replaced. It's not that hard to do. It's better than guessing at it or not putting anything down. And then when your air hammer goes out, or the axle on your old delivery truck breaks down or whatever, it's not unexpected. You know that stuff's coming in a lot of cases. Okay. Now you take a look at your company forms, the office furniture and equipment that the company needs. Are all your forms in good shape? Your contracts, your change work orders, your punch list procedures, your post-sale paperwork, your what do you call it, the job layout sheets. If you got all that stuff together, is it all working properly? If it's not, then get it changed so you're ready for the new year. Talk about your staff in particular, in the office staff. Are they all doing their job? All right. Have you got people on part-time? They should be full-time. Are they doing their job? If they're not, should they be replaced? What kind of educational program have you got set in place for everybody in your business that are key people? Okay. Do you belong to an association? Is the association helping you or hindering you? Okay. You need to take a look at that. Okay. Vehicles, electronic equipment, your computers and your laptops and everything else. Talk about inventory. And you should not have inventory, by the way. If you're one of those companies that stores stuff and you're renting storage space, you need to get out of that, okay? When the job is done, if you have inventory materials left over, take it back, pay the restock fee. And by the way, the restock fee should be on your estimate sheet if you're not really sure about how much you're going to need of things on the job. So those are all things that you need to go into your planning. Now, if you do a thorough review of 2015 and a good job of planning for 2016, it's going to take you, again, at least 6 weeks to get this complete. But when you do that, when you've gone through all this, you'll be able to pinpoint exactly who your ideal client is. And then with a good marketing program put together, as Brian talked about earlier, all right, you will get them interested in your ideal job. And that's utopia in construction, where your ideal client comes to you and asks about buying your ideal job. That to me is a very, very high quality lead. That's the best you're going to get in this business, okay? Now, we can help you with your planning and review, and I'd like you to go to our website, markupandprofit.com, and up at the top you'll notice there's, on the home page, there is a tab at the top left. It says articles. You click on that, and then when the new screen comes up, you look down the left hand side all the way to the bottom. You're going to see two papers in there, Planning Part 1 and Planning Part 2. Now, we haven't had anybody send us anything new for those in several years, so we know they're probably pretty complete. And you're looking at 13 or 14 pages in length. What we'd like you to do is download those and start on Part 1 and start at the top of the first page and just go right down through it and answer the questions or do the exercises we recommend in there. And it's going to take you the full 6 weeks to get through all that. But when you get done, the benefit to it all is next year at this time, you're going to see you're very, very close or even over the goals you've set for sales and profits for your company. Now, how much better does it get than that? Okay, you're not guessing at anything. You know, there's an old saying, you know, you can make things happen or you can let things happen. And those that do a good job of planning are the people that make things happen. And we thank you for attending today. May the profits be with you, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, first of all, let me wrap both Brian and Michael together by saying one thing. Once you get those jobs, you sell that job, you build that job, and it's done. Don't forget to grab the job site pictures and the testimonial and a video from your satisfied customer, because that is what's going to help you with your next job on your website, just like Brian mentioned. So with that, we are almost perfectly on time. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciated it. You have a great day. Goodbye.